When you close your eyes at night, your kidneys don't sleep the way you do. In fact, those two fist-sized organs tucked beneath your ribs are some of the hardest working night shift employees in the body. While the rest of you rests, they quietly repair tissue, filter waste, and balance fluids, working like the custodians of your bloodstream. But here's the problem. Many of us unknowingly sabotage them with the very routines we slip into before bed. A few small choices, staying up too late, that salty snack, an extra glass of water at the wrong time, can silently increase stress on the kidneys, raise creatinine, and push them closer toward decline. Yet the flip side is hopeful. Simple evening habits can protect your kidneys, lower creatinine, and improve your entire body's resilience. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Vital Science for Seniors, where we help people over 50 reclaim their health, independence, and joy. When I sit with patients in my clinic, one of the first questions I ask about their lifestyle isn't about diet, exercise, or medications. It's about sleep. You see, sleep is like the silent director of the body's orchestra, guiding when hormones rise and fall, when blood pressure steadies, and when the kidneys themselves enter their most restorative phase. The problem is, in our modern world, we've trained ourselves to treat bedtime as flexible, like a casual suggestion rather than a sacred appointment. But your kidneys don't have that luxury. They follow the body's internal clock, called the circadian rhythm, and when that clock is disrupted, their function suffers. Imagine your kidneys as factory workers with shifts. Between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., they expect to be repairing the machinery, clearing out waste, and balancing fluids. But if you stay up watching television or scrolling on your phone during that time, the workers are asked to run production lines instead of repairing them. Over time, the machines begin to break down, filtration weakens, and creatinine slowly rises in the blood. I once had a patient, Maria, in her late 60s, who prided herself on catching up with her favorite late-night shows. She'd fall asleep around 1 or 2 a.m. and wake late in the morning. Despite a decent number of total hours in bed, her labs showed rising creatinine. When she reluctantly agreed to shift her bedtime closer to 10:30 p.m. and stick to it even on weekends, her kidney function stabilized. Her energy improved too, because her body finally synced with its natural rhythm. Science backs this up. A 2017 study in the journal Chronobiology International found that irregular sleep patterns disrupted blood pressure control and kidney filtration in adults, even when the total hours of sleep were adequate. The consistency, not just the duration, mattered most. That means going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time each day, even Saturday and Sunday, gives your kidneys the stability they need to perform their nightly repairs. Now I understand the barriers. Screens glow temptingly. Worries about tomorrow can keep the mind restless. Or caregiving duties may demand late hours. But here's where small adjustments help. Turning off devices an hour before bed, writing down tomorrow's tasks so the brain can let go, or practicing a short calming routine such as stretching or soft music. Think of it as preparing the stage for your kidneys to step into the spotlight. By honoring a consistent sleep schedule, you're not just protecting kidney function. You're giving your entire body a reliable rhythm to thrive. There's a quiet trap many of us fall into in the evenings, one that feels harmless at the time. A small bowl of salted nuts while watching the news, a late sandwich piled with deli meat, or maybe a few slices of cheese. Sometimes it's not even hunger but comfort, a way of soothing ourselves after a long day. Yet for the kidneys, these late-night choices are like tossing extra weights on their shoulders right before they clock in for their hardest shift. Here's why. Sodium, the mineral found abundantly in salt and processed foods, has a magnetic pull for water. When you eat salty foods before bed, your body holds on to extra fluid in an effort to dilute that salt. That extra fluid means higher blood pressure, more swelling in the legs, and most importantly, a heavier workload for your kidneys through the night. Instead of quietly repairing, they're busy running the pumps at full speed, trying to clear out the excess. Protein presents another challenge. While protein is essential during the day, eating a heavy load right before sleep, like a steak, a large portion of chicken, or even several boiled eggs, creates a flood of waste products such as urea and creatinine that the kidneys must filter. This is like handing them an inbox full of new paperwork just when they were about to lock the office door. The result is more stress and less restorative rest for those vital organs. I'll never forget James, a retired bus driver in his 70s, who came to me with rising creatinine levels. He swore his diet was clean, but after a few conversations, I discovered his nightly ritual was a plate of cheese, crackers, and cured sausage, foods loaded with sodium and protein. When we shifted his evening habits, encouraging him to enjoy those foods earlier in the day and substitute a small bowl of berries or an apple slice with almond butter at night, his blood pressure stabilized and his swelling improved. Within months, his creatinine numbers were back in a safer range. What you eat in the evening sets the tone for your kidney's night shift. By finishing dinner at least 2 to 3 hours before bed and choosing lighter, kidney-friendly options, you reduce the overnight burden. Think steamed vegetables, a little rice, or a small piece of grilled fish or tofu if you need protein. And if hunger knocks closer to bedtime, keep it gentle. A rice cake, a handful of blueberries, or a few apple slices. These foods whisper rather than shout to your kidneys, letting them carry on their essential repairs undisturbed. After dinner, it's tempting to sink into the recliner and let the evening fade into television or reading. But stillness, though comforting, can quietly work against the kidneys. All day long, gravity pulls fluid into the lower legs and ankles, especially if you've been sitting or standing. By bedtime, that fluid hasn't disappeared. It's simply waiting. When you finally lie down to sleep, it shifts back into circulation, giving the kidneys an extra flood. To manage a simple practice, one that takes no more than 15 minutes, can change the story. Elevating the legs before bed allows the body to gradually redistribute fluid, lightening the kidney's workload. It can be as easy as lying on the couch with a pillow or two under your calves, or resting with your legs up against the wall. I remember Mrs. Patel, a 72-year-old grandmother, who often woke at night with a racing heart and swollen ankles. She assumed it was just age catching up. When I encouraged her to try elevating her legs each evening, the change was remarkable. Within weeks, her swelling lessened, her sleep deepened, and her morning energy improved. She told me it felt as though her body finally exhaled before bed. But movement matters too, not just elevation. A short, gentle walk after dinner or light stretching can prime the body for both digestion and kidney function. Think of it as turning the gears so nutrients are absorbed smoothly, blood sugar is kept steady, and circulation carries oxygen to every organ. In people with diabetes, which is one of the leading causes of kidney disease, this small practice can make the difference between steady glucose overnight and dangerous spikes. A leisurely 10-minute stroll or a few slow stretches focusing on the hips and legs is enough to set the stage. The key is gentleness. This isn't the time for high-intensity workouts or heavy lifting, which can pump up adrenaline and delay sleep. Instead, the goal is to tell the body, we're winding down, but we're doing it with care. A 2020 study in Frontiers in Physiology found that even mild evening movement improves circulation and metabolic balance, reducing stress on the cardiovascular and renal systems. So before bed, imagine giving your kidneys a small favor. A gentle walk to warm the gears, then a few quiet minutes with your legs elevated. It's a ritual that doesn't just protect the kidneys, but also settles the mind, preparing the whole body for a night of repair. One of the most common complaints I hear from older adults is, "Doctor, I'm up all night running to the bathroom." It sounds like a small annoyance, but broken sleep wears down both the mind and the kidneys. At the same time, I've had patients who, afraid of this very problem, stop drinking water in the late afternoon. By bedtime, their mouths are dry, their bodies are parched, and the kidneys are left straining to filter blood that is thick and concentrated. Both extremes, too much fluid late at night or too little overall, can nudge creatinine upward and make life more uncomfortable. The truth is, fluid management is about balance, not avoidance. Picture the kidneys as delicate filters in a coffee machine. If you pour water steadily throughout the day, the filter works smoothly, catching waste and letting clean liquid pass. But if you dump a whole jug of water on the filter at once, it overflows. And if you let it dry out, the filter clogs. This is exactly what happens when hydration is poorly timed. The best rhythm is to drink the majority of your fluids earlier in the day, between breakfast and mid-afternoon. This gives your kidneys time to process without overwhelming them while you sleep. By 6 or 7 p.m., begin tapering down, sipping rather than gulping. If you're truly thirsty before bed, a few small sips of water are enough, just enough to satisfy the body without creating a flood that will wake you repeatedly. I recall a gentleman named Harold in his late 60s who was frustrated that his creatinine was slowly rising. His wife confided that he drank 3 large mugs of herbal tea each night while reading before bed. He thought it was healthy, but the volume of fluids so late in the evening meant his kidneys were working overtime while he tried to rest. When he shifted those mugs to earlier in the day and allowed himself only a few calming sips at night, his bathroom trips lessened, his sleep deepened, and his labs began to stabilize. Avoiding fluids entirely, however, is equally harmful. Dehydration makes the blood thicker, forcing the kidneys to filter harder and leading to higher creatinine. So the secret lies in thoughtful timing. Treat hydration like sunlight. Plenty during the day to keep things growing, but let the evening slowly fade into darkness so your body can rest. With this rhythm, you honor both the need for water and the need for uninterrupted sleep. There is a powerful force that quietly damages the kidneys, one we can't see under a microscope or measure with a blood test in the same way we do sodium or creatinine. That force is stress. When your body is tense, when worries about family, finances, or health keep your shoulders tight and your mind racing. The adrenal glands release cortisol and adrenaline. These stress hormones raise blood pressure, speed the heart, and strain the delicate blood vessels inside the kidneys. Over time, it's like forcing water through a fragile garden hose at high pressure. Eventually, tiny cracks appear. That's why creating a calming bedtime ritual matters just as much as food and fluids. Deep breathing and meditation are not exotic practices reserved for monks on mountaintops. They are simple tools that restore balance. Imagine filling your lungs slowly, like inflating a balloon, and then gently releasing the air, as though letting go of a burden. Each breath lowers the volume of stress in the body, signaling the kidneys that the storm has passed and repair can begin. I remember Evelyn, a retired teacher in her 70s, who struggled with stubbornly high blood pressure and creeping creatinine levels. She was diligent with her diet and medications, but admitted her nights were restless. Her mind kept replaying old worries. I introduced her to a simple routine: 5 minutes of slow, counted breathing before bed. At first, she doubted something so small could help, but after a month, her sleep was deeper. Her morning blood pressure readings improved, and to her delight, her kidney numbers showed signs of stabilizing. She told me, "It felt like my body finally learned how to let go." Scientific research supports what Evelyn experienced. A study published in the Journal of Nephrology found that stress reduction techniques such as mindfulness meditation and controlled breathing improved blood pressure and reduced markers of kidney strain in patients with chronic kidney disease. These practices calm the nervous system, protect the blood vessels, and create a fertile environment for healing. The beauty of this habit is its simplicity. You don't need special equipment or a long training session. Just dim the lights, silence your phone, and give yourself 5 to 10 minutes. Inhale deeply through the nose, hold gently for a moment, then exhale slowly through the mouth. If your mind wanders, don't fight it. Just return to the breath. Over time, this ritual becomes as natural as brushing your teeth. In those quiet minutes, you are not just breathing, you are telling your body, your heart, and your kidneys that it is safe to rest, safe to repair, and safe to begin again tomorrow. As we close, I want you to imagine tonight being different. Instead of falling into bed with your mind racing and your body burdened, you end your evening with a rhythm of care: a gentle walk, a thoughtful sip of water, a few deep breaths, and a moment of quiet reflection. That last step, the bonus habit, is small but mighty. Taking just a minute to set down tomorrow's worries, perhaps by jotting them on paper or whispering gratitude for one good thing today, tells your nervous system the day is complete. This mental reflection and disconnect lowers stress hormones, signals rest, and allows your kidneys to repair in peace. I'm Dr. Brian, and here on Vital Science for Seniors, we believe every night can become an act of healing. Start with even one habit tonight. Your kidneys, your body, and your spirit will thank you.